I'm back for our third and final tip on an exercise to do to improve your fertile body. And something that, again, is a muscle that has the tendency of being on the tighter end and can cause issues around the pelvis. And for the most part in preconception, tightness is usually the issue with making sure things are flowing well. Certainly we want nice, healthy, strong muscles, but what I have found to be the problem for a lot of people is that tight muscles and restricted tissues is really what is kind of at the forefront. And so releasing these muscles with stretches and other body work is necessary prior to really focusing on certain strengthening routines. So this next muscle is called the piriformis. The piriformis is a hip muscle that attaches from our sacrum in the back. And our sacrum is fused bones in the back that are the part of our spine that then attaches to our pelvis. And it's like a triangle in the back. And the piriformis attaches to the side wall of the sacrum, and then it comes and is underneath our glutes, and then it wraps around and attaches to our femur, our hip bone at the side. And it is involved with hip rotation, but it is also involved in stabilizing the sacrum as well. And again, just like with the psoas, the piriformis has nerves very closely running through it, and sometimes or running by it, and sometimes actually even through it. And we really want to make sure that these nerves are not getting restricted in any way. They're not getting pinched or just having their flow, their communication altered in any way because of muscle tension. It doesn't always have to present as pain or tingling or numbness for the nerves to be having a problem with them. So we really want to make sure that is taken care of. Also, the blood flow, we want to make sure that these muscles are not tight for blood flow and or positioning of our sacrum, which also can impact how our spinal nerve roots are communicating, as well as how our pelvic organs are positioned. If our sacrum is off, our pelvis can be off. That can alter our pelvic organ positioning as well. So lots of things that can be altered from a tight piriformis. So one stretch, and I'm going to show you two versions of this, that you can do is either what's called a figure 4 stretch or a pigeon stretch. They're kind of the same type of stretch. They're just done in two different positions. And so what you're doing is you are turning your leg out either on your back or let's say on your front, on your belly. And so you are getting a nice stretch in your butt. So the figure 4 stretch, what you would be doing is on your back, you would put your ankle onto your opposite knee, okay? And if you're already getting a stretch, you're not going to move this leg. You could gently press out, but don't press out too much because you don't want to injure yourself from overdoing it. But you could also play around with the positioning of your pelvis. So what you can do is you can flatten or arch by tipping your pelvis front to back. And you may feel, oh, I'm getting a deeper stretch. And then the stretch releases. So if it's uncomfortable to be in the stretch, you could do this a little bit so that you ease some of the discomfort from the stretch. If you're not feeling a stretch yet, what you can do is grab onto this opposite leg to start to pull your leg closer to your chest. When you do this, you want to make sure that your pelvis remains in more of a neutral position, so you're not flattening your back. You are staying more across the sacrum. I like to consider that you have kind of a heavy tailbone or a dinosaur tail. It's kind of just creating a little bit of a heaviness so that you can't flatten your back. You'll probably still feel a stretch when you flatten your back. You're just not targeting the piriformis as well as you could be. You may be getting some of your glutes and some of your other muscles involved. So again, in this position, you want to also make sure that you're not creating tension up into your shoulders, into your chest. You want it to be fairly relaxed in your upper body when you're doing this. If that's hard for you to do, you can always put your supporting leg up onto something, onto an ottoman, a chair, your couch, anything, so that now your arms are involved and your leg is supported. So that's really what you're looking for. Again, you would hold that for 5 breaths and then you would switch sides. The other stretch that you can do is the pigeon stretch. And with the pigeon stretch, I teach this slightly differently than other yoga instructors do. I find that it is, if you've never done a pigeon stretch before, this is a much easier way to get into it than from a down dog position. So I start off on hands and knees, and from the hands and knees position, what I would do is I would, to stretch my left side, I would bring both of my feet over to the right. And then from there, I would bring my right leg up and over my left leg. And then I would slide back. And so now my leg, let me get this out of the way. My leg is in a turned out position. And just so that I can feel my stretch. I'm not going to try to get my shin really pulled forward like this until it is until you feel more comfortable with that. If everyone can see that, that's getting me into that figure 4 position. But not everyone can do this in a pigeon pose. So if you can't, and that's super uncomfortable, don't worry about that right now. But what you do want to make sure that you are doing is that your pelvis isn't twisted at all, so that you're not, like this, you're not like this, that you are nice and even. If that is uncomfortable, you can put something underneath, a towel, a pillow, so that you are supported. You can also drop down onto your elbows. Again, if it's uncomfortable either on your wrists or on your arms, you can drop down to get out of the arms more. And then again, you would hold this position, this stretch, for 5 breaths. And then to come out of it, you would come back up and press your leg back up, and then you would just switch sides. So if, say, you're at work, because you still have to go into an office, you're not at home, or say you are at home and you just don't feel like getting down on the floor, you could do a figure 4 position sitting in a chair. When you're doing it sitting in a chair, it is really easy to tuck under. So just make sure that you aren't tucking your tailbone under when you are stretching in sitting. And really what you're focusing on also is not pressing your knee down when you are sitting. You're really allowing the weight of gravity to assist the leg down, and at the same time what you can be doing is kind of pulling your leg with your hand, kind of rotating it with your hand a little bit when you're sitting, instead of doing this. So it's more of kind of trying to pull it to rotate it. It's hard to do with these pants. My leg is just or my hand's just sliding, versus just pushing down. So again, if you feel like that area is just locked up, there's no movement whatsoever, you feel super, super tight, maybe you're having some symptoms back and through there. I'm going to sound like a broken record here. Get assessed, see someone, talk to someone who can give you an idea of very specific exercises personalized to you, so that you can deal with any issues that may be happening in that area. Beyond these exercises, there are many other ways to improve the functioning of the piriformis in that area, and not to mention all of the other tissues in that area and around the SI joints and the pelvis, to make sure that your nerve communication is functioning well, and your blood flow is functioning well, and the lymphatics. And so we really want to make sure that that is all nice and healthy, so that you can really optimize your fertile body. And that's going to help with your ability to see the signs while tracking, because if everything is functioning well, your signs are going to be much, much more clear, because your hormones are going to be getting where they need to get. They're going to be at levels that are proper or normal, and so it's going to be a lot easier for you to see what you are looking for. So I hope that was helpful. Again, write down any questions that you may have so that we can address them in the next live on Thursday. That's going to be our last live for this challenge. I hope you all enjoyed. I had a great time writing all of this for you, and I really hope that it was helpful. Take care.